If you have had the experience of riding a bike, you probably are familiar with the freedoms you can have with this vehicle. But do you think these freedoms are enough? Well, we can say no, because you can do strange things with a bike and set some special records. The record breakings, which are up the alley of this vehicle, and without any doubts, you can experience a perfect feeling. Of course, there are many cases of record breakings in the world that bikes are not exempt from them. There are also some fields of longest, shortest, fastest, and slowest jumps with this vehicle. Well, if you're willing to get to know about 10 of these strange records, then stay with Top 2 Bikes. Like always, before the video starts, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe and shake the bell for more videos. Ten. The highest number of individuals on a bike. Is this really a record? This poor motorcycle is built for carrying the highest number of people while standing. People have to get on this bike while it's moving to get to their destination. The Indian ASC Tornadoes biking team was able to ride 58 individuals and set the record in its own name. It's interesting that it's not exactly clear which one of them is controlling this vehicle, but the obvious thing is that there's no special control on it. But what's a little scary is that in the end, these 50 individuals are going to get off and think to yourself what trouble they would have to go through. Fortunately, using helmets has stopped this disaster. 9. The longest wheelie in the world. Really? What is the longest wheelie you've ever seen? 164 feet? The size of a soccer field? A complete 1.5 mile? Well, these distances are just the old times memories for the dog Domicos, known as the Wheelie King, which has the record for the longest wheelie in the world. In 1984, Dog went 145 miles without its front tire touching the ground, even for a second, and was able to set the record for the longest wheelie in the world in his name. He set this record by custom-built Honda dirt bike on the Talladega Superspeedway. This man might fall down 10 times while walking a 20-meter distance, but it's been said that he has a special talent in keeping his balance on the bike on one wheel. And it's been said that 1 year before setting this record, he went over the Empire State Building like King Kong. Although there are no official records about this move was named as the longest wheelie in the world. 8. The fastest wheelie in the world. Well, after the longest wheelie in the world, it's time for the fastest wheelie in the world. If you do not know anything about this, you should know that there are competitions in the world for the fastest wheelie, which many are interested in, and to set the record in their own name by the fastest wheelie. The record for the fastest wheelie in the world belongs to Egbert van Popta. Egbert set this record in the 11th round of the annual biking championship races at a speed of 213 miles per hour. This record was set in the Alvington, Yorkshire Airport by a 1,300cc Hayabusa Turbo among racers from England, United States, France, Netherlands, and Ireland. It must be said that to attain these results, the strange custom-made bikes are used, and other than their scale power, the participants are not allowed to use any other mechanical or electric tools. 7. The longest riding while standing up. Nearly everyone loves this kind of riding a bike. Standing on the seat while moving takes a lot of courage, and those who have the guts to do this do it to show off and satisfy their adventure sense. Surely, you cannot do these things easily and for long distance because a lot of experience is needed for this, and the conditions for doing it are also highly important. Given all of these, the Indian Ratnesh Pandey decided to do this and got the Guinness record in his name. In December 2015, he stood on the Honda Unicorn and went for 20 miles and set the record. The 33-year-old Ratnesh went all of this path for 48 minutes without any of his hands touching the bike. 6. The longest trip on a bike. Surely it is exciting to travel on a bike, especially if there are interesting scenes around while traveling. But how do you think a 500,000-mile trip would feel like? Yes, you heard right, 500,000 miles. The record for the longest trip on a bike belongs to the Argentinian photographer and journalist Emilio Scotto. In a 10-year trip using his Honda Goldwing GL 1100, he traveled 279 countries. Scotto started his travel since 1985 by quitting his pharmaceutical company and from his home and took more than 90,000 pictures from this beautiful planet. It's interesting that in 1991, he could visit his girlfriend Monica Pino, who was in New Delhi, and marry her. Before this trip, he had never been out of Argentina, and he had 1364 photo passports during his trip. At the end of this trip, he had one engine change, 12,500 US gallons of gas, 350 US gallons of oil, 86 tires, 12 batteries, and new seats. 5. The smallest bike in the world. You probably won't believe that this could be the smallest bike in the world, but this small vehicle is able to carry a mature person. This Sweden Tom Wiberg is the creator of this vehicle. Well, according to its small size, you cannot expect a fast speed from it. You should be happy when it moves just a few meters. Imagine how your back will hurt by riding it. But despite all of these, Tom could receive the license for the smallest bike in the world. 4. The biggest bike. Well, after the smallest bike, it is time for the biggest bike. You could easily imagine the size of this bike. The mechanic Ray Bowman is the creator of this giant bike. This Australian man has spent over $250,000 on this machine. He calls his machine the Monster Motorbike. This name completely suits this machine because you will find about its big size when you can see it on the street next to yourself. Maybe this part of the video can show a little of the greatness of it. This bike is 13.6 tons and each of his tires weighs the same as the bike itself. This giant is equipped with a Detroit diesel linear V6 truck engine. This machine is nearly 29.5 feet long and over 9.8 feet high. 3. The highest jump on a bike. The title for the highest jump on a bike belongs to the French Alain Trayer. Alain has done many jumps up until now, but none of them took the courage as in jumping from the top of the mountain. In a way that this jump was named Fear Against Greatness. After coming down the slope of the peak at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour and for 62 miles, Aline jumped from the ramp and opened his parachute at a distance of half a mile from the ground. This move was registered as the 500 feet skydiving. After landing, he went back on a plane to the place where the bike had fallen to celebrate this event with his fans and have fun. 2. The fastest bike in the world. The fastest bike in the world. You probably would be reminded of Kawasaki Ninja H2R after you hear this, wouldn't you? 400 kilometers per hour for bike. That's a lot of speed, isn't it? But you think you guessed right. I should say that you're wrong, because there is another bike too which is faster than this. Of course, I agree with it that there is another bike which has this title, but Kawasaki H2R Turbo charged 310 horse speed with 4 cylinders and 998 cc's of its engine capacity, is able to reach the peak of its speed in 26 seconds and is a legend on its own. But if you are hung up on Kawasaki H2R, then you haven't seen this. The record for the fastest bike in the world belongs to Bill Warner. Bill custom ordered a body on Suzuki Hayabusa platform and could build this 1,000 horse speed bike and got the title for the fastest bike in the world. Although no company has produced this bike, and you can't recognize it as practical, and also it has many restrictions, Warner was able to reach the speed of his bike on a 1.5 mile airfield to 311 miles per hour. Surely this takes a world of courage, because the length of the runway was short for the speed of this bike, and this caused Warner many problems after doing it. Have you enjoyed this video up until now? Hit the like button. By the way, hit the subscribe button and the bell for the next videos. 1. The most expensive bike in the world. Neiman Marcus Limited Edition Fighter is a compact but strange-looking bike, and also a little annoying to ride. Of course, the design of this machine is a lot like the parts of a clock, and the company which built it has named it the evolution of the machine. In the first look, this machine does not seem legal to ride on a street, but this bike has the permit to go into the streets. This bike is able to go at 190 miles per hour speed, and its propellant parts consist titanium, aluminum, and fiber carbon. This bike's price is estimated at $11 million, and there are only 45 limited versions of these machines. I think it has a unique and interesting design. What do you think? Which one of the mentioned cases do you think is more interesting? Well, like always, we're waiting for you, dear friends, energetic comments, and wish you happiness wholeheartedly. Take care and see you in another video of Top 2 Bikes.